Jesus. Jesus. I hear you.
This is the reason why Nigerian government, this is the reason why they don't want to, give us Biafra, because they know that we are creative in nature. Nobody can defeat us. That is why they don't want to give us Biafra, because they know that if they give us Biafra, we the Biafrans, we finish all of them. We are going to fish them out in this planet. That is why they are afraid of giving us Biafra. That is why if we talk about Biafra, they will do like, what are these people saying? So that is the reason why they don't want to give us Biafra, because they know that Biafrans are strong and Igbo people are the most powerful people in Africa. So just take your time and watch this video. After watching this video, you will know that Biafra Liberation Army, they are not smiling, and these people are trying their best to make sure that they do what they can do to protect motherland. Share this video and remain blessed. One love. We do the real.
Right.
The engine is lacking.
Ready for firing. 4, 1, 5. India, mark. Fuck throws. Fuck throws.
Jesus. Jesus. I hear you. The first launch has man, it's man. I've not seen something like this before anywhere. So with my fear and the mission.
All right, so guys, a quick one. From this particular post from the handle of Pastor Ezekiel Dachomo's Facebook page, he made this particular post about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu some hours ago. He said, Danfodio's jihadist Fulanese terrorists are behind the kidnap and arrest of this man. Sentenced to court in Abuja, imprisoned in Sokoto. Doesn't that sound strange to you? No more prison in Abuja. He was probably sent as a trophy to the Fulani Danfodio Sultan of Sokoto. They saw him as a threat to their conquest agenda of Nigeria. I don't know whether the meaning of this particular post from Pastor Ezekiel Dachomo. I'm a known man, the pastor of man, the one that have been calling for the buying and calling America and US over the buying of Christians and genocide happening in Nigeria. So he made this particular post about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu some hours ago. For some of you now, what he said, let me take it again so that you understand. He said, Danfodio jihadist Fulani terrorists are behind the kidnap and arrest of this man. Sentenced to court in Abuja, imprisoned in Sokoto. Doesn't that sound strange to you? No more prisons in Abuja. He was probably sent as a trophy to the Fulani Danfodio Sultan of Sokoto. They saw him as a threat to their conquest agenda of Nigeria. So thank God that people like this are beginning to understand these things happening right now. Thank God they are beginning to connect the dots. So many people thought that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is only about Biafra or about Ndibo alone. No. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is out there, in prison because of the common Nigerian, because of the indigenous person in this country. And thank God they are beginning to understand that, yes, this was the agenda these people had right from the beginning. I mean, come to think of it, this is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you put all this thing happening in Nigeria today. Gwagi ka Fulani gesi take over your communities. Gwagi how Fulani will take over Nigeria today, how far? What is happening today? I'll play you guys a video. Could what this really means. A video from a Yoruba elderly man. Of course, these were the people who were alive before Nigeria got their independence. If Ajuga said the man at the video, I want you to listen to what he said about this same Usman Danfodio. Listen to the man, he get the hope on this video. At the end of the video, I'll play you guys an interview. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, some question, an interview. It's an old interview, but a very interesting interview of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You need to listen to how all this thing began. First of all, let us listen to this Yoruba man, what he said in this video. Get into to start the video, share your thoughts on the comment section. Don't forget, share. Candy as always tonight with fear. Enjoy the rest of the videos. I'll be right back.
Until people go to the genesis of the insecurity, we will not have a solution. That is the genesis of the insecurity in Nigeria. It started. I keep quoting it. I've quoted it so many times. Others have also quoted it, not me alone. In 1960, just barely 5 months after Nigeria got independence in October, in fact, in October, I think it was 12 October 1960, the late Sadalna of Sokoto, Alhaji Samadu Bello, he said that this new nation, Nigeria, should, that was the word he used, should be an estate of our great-grandfather, Usman Dan Fodio. And we should never allow a change of power. He continued, the northern minorities we shall use as stepping stones, and the south we shall use as conquered territory, and we shall never allow them to rule over themselves. This ambition of the Fulanis to overrun Nigeria with their brand of Islam, which does not allow of religious tolerance, even within the Islamic faith itself, with a particular brand of Islam, so that if you don't believe in that brand of Islam, you are to be killed. Because even Yoruba Muslims, Yorubas were Muslims before Danfodio came to Nigeria. Islam in Yoruba land is older than Islam in the north. But we didn't take Yoruba didn't take the Islam from the north. Islam came to Yoruba land through a different route, and it predated that of the north. Even they regard Yoruba Muslims as infidels, because Yoruba Muslims are tolerant. In Yoruba land, we are very tolerant of religious differences. In families in Yoruba land, we have Muslims, we have Christians coexisting, living together, celebrating together. That is our own brand of Islam. So because of that, the Fulanis regard all of us, Christian and Muslim, as infidels. Because if you are a true Muslim, you are not supposed to live happily with a Christian. You are supposed to kill them. So I'm saying that those of us who think we are targets to be killed, but the same people who say they are the same country with us, we have a right to say no. We want to a place where we can live our own life peacefully. Where we can live our own life peacefully without being afraid to go to bed at night. That some people might come and burn our villages and kill us and rape our women. So that is why I don't blame people who are agitating for Yoruba nation, for Igbo nation, for all sorts of other things, because we are all confronted by the same terror, the same terrorism that is now ravaging Nigeria, which is based on this Fulanization agenda.
You said Nigeria would not survive. Why do you have that notion? Because every country has its challenges, and Nigeria is managing has. So but why would you think the country would not survive, and the only way to go is, you know, to grant you autonomy?
Because Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria is not a nation. Nigeria is an economic enterprise set up by the British to serve a particular need and interest. No time did people from Nigeria get together to decide to be called Nigeria. No time did they get together to decide to form a nation or a country. That is an illusion. In 1914, a man called Rick Lugard decided on his own, working to further British interest in West Africa, decided to amalgamate the North and the South. The North was very poor, and sadly they have remained poor till this very day. There is nothing anyone can do about it. So Nigeria as a country, Nigeria referred to as a nation, is an anomaly. Nigeria had never been a country, and it will never ever be a country. What we are asking for is a recognition of our way of life and existence before the advent of the white man, and that is something we are determined to accomplish. regardless of the obstacle, in terms of sacrifice, both human and material. Everything will be committed into accomplishing this one divine feat. And Biafra must and will be restored, I assure you.
Away from Nigeria's history, your survival of the Operation Python Dance seems to be shrouded in mystery. A lot of people wondered how you were able to escape out of Nigeria, despite the staccato of bullets and, of course, the carnage that followed it. How were you able to escape?
I was evacuated. I think the word escape is exaggerated. The military operation in my house was illegal. It was a state-sanctioned attempt to assassinate me and assassinate the rest of my family along with some of my men. 28 people died in that very horrific attempt to try to take my life away from me. Extrajudicially, I hasten to add. That is one thing that is lost on Nigerians. I quite recognize the need to condemn what is happening in South Africa, which I have done myself personally. But I also want those who are rising up today in condemnation of what is happening in South Africa to also rise up and very vocally and vociferously condemn the rule of impunity under this very same Fulani cabal headed by Jubril Aminu al-Sudani from Sudan, because everybody knows that Buhari is no more. Now, what is happening is that when you do not have regard for your own so-called citizens, when you have no regard for life and property, when you are an advocate of the misrule or misapplication of law, whatever happens to you outside is what you have basically brought upon yourself. That is why Nigerians should not actually be in a position to offer any condemnation, because they themselves are living in purgatory and they have not been able to rise above their limited understanding of the